Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to today's bonus upload. Before we jump on into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click that like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's bonus, shall we? All right, everybody. Today I have a subscriber with us. He goes by the name of D. He is, I'm honored that he was able to come on the show, take some time out of his day. D, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for coming on, and I appreciate the willingness and courage to come on the show and share your encounters with us. It's an honor.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I got to get this out.
So right now, the only time I may interrupt is if I've got a legitimate question about size or something, but the floor is yours.
Okay. I'm 53, live in Tampa, Florida right now. I grew up in Massachusetts and would vacation in summers in Maine. From when I was a child up to my mid to late 20s, my parents owned some cottages up there. They would rent, and I had a permanent place up there. And we would go up throughout the summers and on the weekends. This event happened in a place just called Ocean Park, Maine. It's a little cottage town on the beach, just south of Old Orchard Beach. I had previously been on other Bigfoot and Dogman shows with Vic Cundiff. I was on his Bigfoot Experience 199 and Dogman Encounters 296. And those experiences all happened in this little town from the time I was 11 until my mid-20s. I had explained most of them to Vic, but they happened so infrequently that I had kind of shut them out of memory. And as my kids got older, I started having kids of their own and would go out camping and whatnot. I felt the need that I had to at least warn them. And so I've told them about it. They don't quite know how to grasp it because I'm not, I'm just a regular dad, and never was into Squatching and Bigfooting and all that stuff. So they at least know that I believe these things are out there, and I just want them to be careful, which is half the battle. But then I realized that there's so many other people out there who are in harm's way and don't even know it. So in the Dogman encounter I had in '94, I was being stalked by a juvenile dogman and had run into it with a larger dogman. I don't know if it was a female or a male, but it was 10 feet tall.
Wow.
And it had the juvenile that I saw I was walking the tracks from Old Orchard into this town, and the last house before I hit my town, where there's nothing but brush, in the backyard, there was a being 5 to 6 feet in the air, full moon. I could see a silhouette, arms, legs, and head, making itself through the brush to meet me as I was going to head over the tracks. And my first thought was that this is some crazy person, because all they had to do was go down the driveway to go down the street. And here it is trying to meet me at an angle through some of the thickest brush, and it was tearing it up pretty well to meet me there if I kept going. So I ended up going around, walking the streets and coming down almost to my house. And at the end of the street, there's a bunch of brush. There's a little park there, called Guild Park. It's a little triangle of woods. And my friend's house is right behind it. I heard a growl again. This thing, the large one, the 9-10 footer, stuck its head out 9-10 feet in the air. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a dog up in a tree. Started walking toward it. Like, hey, buddy, you okay? I'm trying to figure out how this dog got up in a tree. Thinking, oh, and it cocked its head and was like, what's this? Like dogs do. Like, what? And started looking around, cocked its head back, looking around behind me and stuff. I don't know if the cottages, everybody in this town, they go to bed. They're all families that rent. And so they go to bed at like 9 o'clock when it gets dark. And there were some lights on. I don't know if people were looking out the window when they heard me, because if you walk down the streets, my father would always get on my case with my friends when we have a group of teenagers or 20-year-olds who were out, run down to the beach, and then we're real loud walking down the streets. People would complain because we'd wake up their children. So me having this interaction with this being, I don't know if someone was looking out the window and it saw them or what, but it ended up turning to its left, my right, and snarling. It was the only aggressive thing that happened, snarling at something back in the woods. I'm assuming it was this juvenile, because it was a smaller being. And then it went back, and then I went up around the woods and then went home. Well, shortly, I had forgotten about this, but shortly thereafter, I went to go visit my cousin's place. He has a place on the beach up in Camp Ellis, and this little town which is just south of us in Ocean Park. And I remember walking down Temple where I lived and taking, where was I? Going down taking a right at Royal Ave, and then taking a left on Randall, and right on Royal Ave, there's this little set of pine trees and bushes. Sometimes the cottages at the end of the street would have a bunch of pine trees, maybe 20 to 40 feet of pine tree and bushes in between the house and the street. And I got something growled at me, and I wasn't even thinking, this thing happens so infrequently. I wasn't thinking that Dogman thing again. I should have been, but so I walked up to the tree line, and I'm looking in the tree line, and I'm seeing a shadow that's almost as tall as me, maybe a little taller and thin, and it growled, and I booked it. I just turned, kept walking. I'm going to my cousin's. I'm up the street. And like I said, this is a cottage town, and there's a lot of people there. And people are in bed by now, because I would go up when it got dark, 9, 10 o'clock, hang out, have a couple beers with my cousin, friends, and then come home, walking home 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I leave there. I go down Route 9 to Randall again. I'm coming back the same way I came, and stupid me, I've had a few beers, not too many, but I'm not even thinking, I'm approaching the woods where this thing growled at me again. This, like, these whole Bigfoot and Dogman things happen so infrequently. Like, I didn't expect it to happen again. It's like I'll see him, and then I won't see him for years, Yeah. And stupid me, I'm walking down the street, and I start approaching Royal, and I hear a growl again, and I'm looking at the ground, and as I'm walking, and I look to my right, and this dog had come out from the wood line and just sat there with the houses on the right-hand side. I'm walking on the left by the sidewalk. Well, we're in the street. And it's sitting there, and it's really thin. It's probably like 5 to 6 feet tall sitting. And I was looking up online these dog-wolf hybrids with really long hair, and it was like that. The Dogman I saw prior to that, the 9-10 footer, was like a wolf dog hybrid, but really big. The head was huge, had the hump on the back. I could see the top of the shoulders.
Did you
Very
see
muscular.
an eye shine on that one, on the 9 to 10 footer when you saw it?
Yeah. When I saw that one, it was so big. It was like muscular.
Okay.
Maybe the shoulder, maybe 4 feet.
Wow.
I mean, this thing was giant. Like, it was buff. This dog, I don't know if it was like a year old or 2 year. I don't know. But at first I thought it was just a really big, skinny dog, and it was sitting on its hindquarters. But its paws were right close to its thighs, but its paws were weird. It's just sitting there like dogs do, and looking at me, and I'm like, oh, great. And I'm like, so this is what was staring at. It was in the woods, and I'm not even putting together like the huge dog man with this might be the juvenile. This is what juveniles look like, if you know what I mean. And so I look at it, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to make friends with this thing. It's not on a leash, I don't see any collar or anything like that. And and I used to do that with dogs in the area because we had a lot of renters who'd bring their dogs up, and you put your hand out to them, and hey, if it was a good dog, most of them are domesticated, so they were good, and they'd wag their tail and you pet them. So I started approaching this dog, and I'm realizing it's really thin, but really big, and hey, buddy, how you doing? It growls at me again. And then I start walking forward, and it goes on all fours, and I hop on the sidewalk, and it hops on the sidewalk to face me, and it's got its head reared down with its back up, and its front paws are really weird. Like they talk about these raccoon hands, it was weird like that. And I stick my hand out, thinking it's a dog. Hey, everything's good, kind of thing. Hey, buddy. Right. And it turns its head to its side, and then it turns it back, and it starts keep coming. And I'm like, oh. Then I'm finally realizing this thing is not what I think it is. And luckily, there was a cottage right to my left. I had a friend, Paul, his aunt owned it, I believe, and he's a friend from growing up there, and he would vacation there at least once or twice a year, but she would rent it out, and I had just enough. I mean, this thing was feet away from me, and I had just enough time to get on his porch and open up the door. Thank God it was open. I shut the door, and I lied down on the front porch. It's a front porch, and the front door is right there next to it. And I'm fully trying to grasp. I'm like, oh my gosh, that must have been the little one, and it thinks I'm being aggressive with it, and I fully expected the thing to open up the door and just have at me. I didn't want to pound at the door yet, because I didn't know if Paul was there. If you only frequented there like 1 week out of the summer, 2 weeks out of the summer. And so I'm lying down trying to keep as quiet as possible. My heart's racing like crazy. I'm praying, and I was so scared I passed out. I literally passed out, and thankfully it didn't. It ran off. Must have run off. And at 6 a.m., whoever was renting came down, and the guy, the wife had got her husband out there, and he grabbed me, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, this is my friend Paul's place. You're renting here. I apologize. There's some dog chasing me." And, I wasn't going to tell him some werewolf chasing me or anything like that. Right. And he's like, "No, get out of here." And I'm like, Oh, thank God he didn't call the cops. I would have gotten in big trouble and everything. But I lived right down the street, so I was able to run home. Anyway, so so that was, that experience. And, when we would walk at night, generally it was a group of us. We'd have friends, and we'd never try to walk alone because the place, we always, it was creepy. People didn't want to walk by Guild Park alone. You could hear stuff in the woods walking around in Guild Park, and that's, where, I ran into a Bigfoot with my friends, and more than one occasion there. And so, I've been praying to God to try to remember these things. I totally put this event out of my mind. It's hard to explain, but when you have these experiences and you try to tell people about them, especially your family and others, and they just tell you, look, you can't tell anybody you've seen these things. They'll think you're crazy. I'm not sure if I believe you, even though they're family members who know you wouldn't lie to them about this kind of thing. And so for me, I learned to just, okay, I'm not going to go in the woods at night. I'm not going to walk alone in the woods at night, but I'm going to get this out of my mind. And it's my coping mechanism, I guess. So I was just trying to remember that. And then there was one other Bigfoot experience where we went down West Grand, Route 9 to Old Orchard, and we actually got right to Old Orchard with a bunch of my friends. I think there's a mini golf on the left-hand side there now. And there's a restaurant that used to be there. My friend used to work in. And my friend looks over, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, there's a Bigfoot in their dumpster. And this is Old Orchard Beach. Nothing but people walking up and down the side. You wouldn't believe it. And I was like, what? And this is not a Bigfoot guy. None of us were Bigfoot guys. We were just kind of like, what? And I looked over, and his brother and his friends were like, you're crazy. And I'm like, what, dude? And I started running after it, and it booked right behind there's the railroad tracks, and it went right on the railroad tracks. I ran up to the railroad tracks, and it was like 50 yards ahead of me, 50 yards ahead of me. And it was all black. And it wasn't as big as the alphas that I saw that were like 10 to 12 feet. This thing was like my height. And I'm running, it's running, and it turns around, and it does a scream at me. And I just wanted to see it. I wasn't trying to run it down or anything. And I was like, I heard that scream, and I was like, whoa, I'm out. And I turned around and ran back to my friends, and I'm like, yeah, so-and-so was right. That it's something. It's black, it's hairy, and it's pissed. And they're like, you guys are crazy, kind of thing. But that was the other event that I had forgotten. So, yeah, they're up there. If you've been in that area, you probably think I'm a liar. But, I had to get this out only because there are a lot of people. It's a quiet little town. You think you're safe, and, people walk around late at night when the lights are on and stuff like that, But these things are out there. Excuse me. And I just had to get that out because you hear these stories that Jeff's talking about in the newspaper with these events where quote unquote pack of dogs have mauled somebody, and not that I think all these dogmen are out to maul humans, but I think they'll take the opportunity if they can find it. And even if you think this is a form of entertainment, or you find this entertaining and you haven't experienced these things, I just want to warn you that, we're not the apex predator on this planet. There are things bigger and badder, and you need to be very careful. Well, I hope you don't run into a situation like this, but I'm hoping that people will take enough care, excuse me, to avoid getting themselves in a situation that they can't get out of. Excuse me. And, when I ran into this juvenile, the only thing I can fathom is that these beings are all about being an alpha predator, and if they feel challenged in any way, they have to address it. You hear stories where people take a pot shot at them, and then they drive home, and then the things in their backyard tearing their dogs to pieces because it feels like you went to its home and disrupted its life, and it's going to come find you. Well, I think they also have the attitude that the alpha reigns, and you need to be tough, the survival of the fittest kind of thing. And if they feel challenged at all, they're more than happy to pick a fight. I think that's kind of what this juvenile did. I think it was confused because I was trying to be friendly and sticking my hand out, telling me, thinking it's a really tall, thin dog, and then realizing it's got hands, like raccoon hands, and like, oh crap, this was the one that was tracking me the other day and had led the 9-10 footer to me. And maybe he wasn't satisfied with the way the 9-10 footer dealt with it by just leaving me alone, and thought, well, I'm going to address this guy, and if he addresses me back, the game's on. That's the way I felt. I mean, it sounds weird, but I honestly think this is the way these things operate. I think they're very, very animalistic, but they're very, very smart. They're not quite human, not quite dog, but they're very territorial. And, I think it took it as me retreating and hiding as sufficient, like, okay, I'm still the badass. I'm going to leave him alone kind of thing.
Right.
But that was it. So.
Well, I appreciate you taking, the time, like I said. Just one couple quick questions on when you were face to face with it, and you had your hand down, like, to coax it over to, say, hey, I'm friends with you.
Yeah.
It was dark out, obviously. Now, people say they see a amber color or a red color. Were you able to see an eye, or was it just
it wasn't reflecting visually? It wasn't reflecting light. Okay. I didn't have a flashlight on it or anything like that.
Right.
Just like the big one, I don't remember the eye color or eye shine. I think it looked just like a regular eye. A lot of people say they see these amber eyes.
Yeah.
That's why I thought the big one was just like a regular dog. I could have, I'm guessing it was just normal color eyes. And this one was no different. It was black with some brown and longer hair. I don't know if this particular breed grows in it just kind of sorts it. It doesn't look so shaggy, or maybe there's some that have long hair. I don't know.
Right.
But that's why I thought it was just a regular dog. Like I said, it was approaching me slowly, ears back, growling, fangs, mouth up, fangs, and its head was low to the ground, kind of like if you ever see a lioness or lions when they're hunting.
Yeah.
And they're staying real low. And I was like, I am in some serious trouble right now.
Yeah.
And so it's weird because, when you don't experience these things or you experience limited things, 99% of your mind's on normal, not this. And then when you realize you're in that situation, it's just, fight or flight kicks in, of course. But it's really a hard thing. You end up getting like PTSD and shock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I think I passed out, because my heart was going a mile a minute. I thought, okay, this thing's going to open the door.
Yeah.
Lying on the ground, it's going to gut me. I'm going to be pounding on the door. They're going to find me ripped to shreds.
Yeah, that's a good explanation, because, you've heard people through other encounters that say, hey, I saw this thing out my kitchen window or my bedroom window, and it scared me, and I ended up going back to sleep. Well, it's the shock. People are like, well, how did they fall back to sleep, or this and that? Well, your adrenaline is up so high, and then it goes, and you're left with nothing. It's almost like, a crash,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you're absolutely lucky that the door was unlocked on that house, on the cottage, you know, and
yeah. Like I said, yeah, thank God. You know, I was praying big time. I can't, you know, and that's why another reason I'm doing this. I'm like, if that door was locked, there's a good chance I'd be the pack of dogs guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I've run into out there where people had their hunting dogs that got loose, and they easily tear a person up. You know, you know. So, but yeah. I mean, I count my blessings. Like, you know, thank God, and literally prayed about it. And it was, you know, from listening to your show and other shows, I've been trying to piece together the whole situation. That's the way I kind of saw it. I just kind of saw it as these things are super uber territorial, and it felt challenged. And I, you know, because it didn't get me the first time, maybe it knew I would walk around at night visiting friends,
Right.
and had no problem being like 2:00 in the morning, just walk around, be the only person in town up walking around, getting home or whatever. And I don't know if it was following me or what, but maybe it has some kind of thing where it was like, if I growl at this guy and he confronts me, game's on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the way it felt. It felt like as soon as it sat down, it was like chill. And then I addressed it, and then it growled, and, you know, I think it took it as kind of me being aggressive again. And you know, can only imagine that these things, it's a survival of the fittest for them. They got to be ready to go all the time, and they have their own way of dealing things.
Yeah, pack mentality and.
Yep. Yeah. So.
Well, you know, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your encounter with us. You know, me and you, we had a little bit of a talk before the interview, and it was great talking with you, getting to know you. I think that it's important that more people like you come out and share, you know, because you'd bottled this up for so long, PTSD, shame, fear, whatever. And I think that it's beneficial for other people to hear someone who has had an encounter that's afraid to share it. In that way, more puzzle pieces are put into play. Maybe then we'll have that puzzle put together. So.
Yeah, at the very least, if there's anyone who's listening who will, in a rural town or in a suburb even, or, you know, and they get that weird feeling like something's eyeballing me and I just can't place it, that they, you know, don't shake it off and be very, very careful, because these things, they're out there and they have no problem going through yards and going through trash and dumpsters and right alongside of us. I think they, you know, maybe even see us as a form of entertainment. Maybe they just like eyeballing us and seeing how we act as humans when we're walking around and whatnot. But if I can get it out there for anybody, that if you're going to go on a hike or a walk, or if you live in a rural area, don't even take putting out your trash or going for a walk lightly, where, you know, you hear too many of these sad cases where a person's out in the middle of nowhere walking and they end up dead.
Yeah.
And I think these, not all of them, but some of them are opportunists, and they'll, if they can get away with it, and they'll do it. I think they'll do it.
Yeah, and right now we're dealing with. I 100% believe that what happened in Texas was an opportunistic kill, you know, and it's a shame that, you know, they're covering these things up, and more people are gonna die, unfortunately, because the news media or the powers that be are not saying, hey guys, be careful. You know, I mean, we can accept that there's bear, we can accept that there's wolves, we can accept there's, you know, eventually we are going to accept that, hey, there is something else out there. You know, there's some sort of land shark, you know, and it's got hair and you know, so you know, it's just, I don't know, but yeah, it's real nice to talk to you, and I appreciate you coming on. I really do.
I do appreciate talking to you too. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
All right, is there anything that you'd like to say to anybody after we or to everybody, kind of to end the upload here?
Yeah, just you know, if you're in that area, don't. If you're a researcher, don't. Please, just don't. I'm telling you, these things, the ones I saw, the alpha Bigfoot and this alpha Dogman, they're not playing around.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
All right.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
it was
Thank
great
you, Jeff.
talking to you. Thank you, D.
Thank you.
And there you have it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed today's bonus as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. After all, it is your support that helps the channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and our friends. These creatures are real. These events, they've happened. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.